Hey guys, the WalterFootball.com After Dark show for January 23rd, 2025. We're going to be doing NFL DraftKings picks, and we're going to make some lineups here for the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship. Before we get into all that, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, I'm wearing one of these shirts. Biden pooped his pants. If you watched the show yesterday, you'd be like, wait a second, did you wear that shirt yesterday? Well, yes, I did. Now I have an excuse. My water heater burst this morning back there, the second door to my left here. So I was not able to take a shower, but it's not like I would have anyway. So let's just be real here. All right, well, you could get one of those shirts at the merch store. We're having a 25% off sale off everything except the mug. I don't know why the mug's not 25% off, but everything else is. So you can get something here to help us out. That would be great. You can also go to Amazon, buy my books, Jerks of the College Years. This is the most recent one. If you like when people make fun of other people, you will like this book. So make sure you pick it up. Or you can get How the 2020 MVP Was Stolen, another book of mine. And by the way, this is the genesis of the No Cookie Jordan Love nickname. So you can read all about that. It's a book about how Brett Favre tried to sabotage Aaron Rodgers in 2020. True story. So you can read all about that. Also, please consider super chats, super stickers. We had some great super chats yesterday. Alan Stafford gave us a $10 super chat. Slew 555, John Sanders 411. You guys are so awesome with your contributions. Just really appreciate it. Can't make an eagle the week before as well. So it really means a lot. As I said, it's January, so no one's advertising. It's pretty brutal for the ad rates. So any little bit helps. So we are joined by Kenny. The cap is fake. Kenny, how's it going? How's your week off?
Oh, bro, kind of crazy, but life goes on. Sometimes you just have crazy weeks. You're just like, you know what? I'm glad I'm not a communist.
Glad you're not a communist. I kind of wonder what happened actually now. I think you get that.
Well, I always, by the way, good, bad or ugly. I'm always glad I'm not a communist.
Yes. The communists are the worst. I know. I know, and my family knows that very well. All right, so I figured we get into the NFL DraftKings stuff. We do have a question here. Are you buying the Travis Hunter, to Tennessee rumors? He went from 10-1 to plus 150 after the comments. The comments today being that Tennessee said they're not passing on a generational talent. Now, everyone assumed that's Travis Hunter, but what if they deem Shedeur Sanders as a generational talent, or Cam Ward? Like, that may not seem the case to a lot of people, but to them, they can be like, hey, we love Shedeur Sanders. We think he's a generational talent, So I wouldn't automatically say that Travis Hunter is the pick. Plus 150 is not good enough. 10-1, I would take. Plus 150, I would pass on that. But, they could mean Travis Hunter too. Like, I'm not saying they aren't. So, so we'll see. Sanders says, Kenny, we have a new president, by the way.
That was sorry. I was clapping it up.
I like all these executive orders. I think they're phenomenal.
Fantastic.
We had some great pardons as well. So things are off to a good start. Let's hope they continue. Before we get into the DraftKings content, I wanted to know if you had any thoughts on last week's games, either the 4 NFL games or the college football championship. Or you weren't here last week, so I don't know what you saw or what you thought. So floor is yours or we can get started here.
Well, I do have a take on college football, but should I save that, or should I give that now?
I don't know. I love your take, so let's get to it.
All right, we'll see about this one.
Okay.
So, I've been retired from college football now for almost 13 years. And, I basically come out of I basically come out of retirement briefly for the bowl games, watch a handful of bowl games every December. I watch, whatever, USC, Notre Dame. I used to watch that pretty much most years. Ohio State, Michigan. I watched a couple of big games here and there. Anyway, well, BCS championship I would watch. And then when they expanded the playoffs, I would watch. So now I watch more college football this year than probably in 13 years because of the expanded playoffs. But I didn't know that Okay, maybe I'm under a rock. Maybe I'm an idiot. Okay, apparently they pay the players now.
Yeah.
Like some players get millions of dollars. Like I knew that they changed the rule where players could get money from endorsements and sponsorships. I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I didn't realize the teams or the schools can directly pay the players now, which I think is perfectly fine. I just didn't realize it happened. I don't know what planet I've been on. Apparently I missed that. And apparently Ohio State apparently went on a spending spree this like past off season, or they spent $78 million. Am I getting the details right? They have like $78 million of monies that committed to players.
I thought it was 20 million. So yeah, I mean, like it's NIL. It stands for name, image, and likeness. So the college, it's a weird thing. You know, they say like the colleges aren't like paying them directly, but they kind of are. It's a weird thing. So I don't know. I like it's sort of like, hey, where the college itself is not paying someone, but hey, like Mr. Brewster over here has a car dealership. Like, hey, come hang out and get some money. You know, like
yeah.
So
so apparently, yeah, it's I just put it on Google. It's $20 million this 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
But they I guess the players that signed on this offseason have a total of $78 million committed over the lifetime of their expected playing, is what I read.
Okay.
So anyway, all that to say, like, so this is where, you know, the salary, you know, the salary cap is fake.com. That's my website. I believe the salary cap is fake because it is fake. It's a mirage. But in the NFL though, all the teams have shared revenue. And so they all have about the same amount of money coming in, and they're all multi-billionaires, and they're all expected to spend within the same range. And so, like, while the salary cap is so easily manipulated that it's pretty much useless. So when I say it's fake, no, it's not technically fake, okay, but it is virtually useless. In college sports, that's not the case at all. In Ohio State has way more money than the University of Indiana in terms of athletics, or even way more than even a big school like BYU. And so I actually think paying the players without a legitimate salary cap, or some legitimate national shared revenue is going to be an absolute disaster for college football. This is going to do it because there's going to be a handful of schools that literally will be able to pay the most for the players, and the disparity between the very best and everyone else will be so wide that it will render most regular season college football games absolutely useless. It will be, and so this is terrible. So I think the NCAA has to do something about this. They have to implement a legitimate salary cap and legitimate shared revenue. I can't believe that they did this. I just learned this week. I guess I don't know what planet I've been on, but I was reading this week on how it's structured. I'm just like, wait a minute. This doesn't make sense. Now, certainly there were schools paying players before. We all know that was happening under the table. But yeah, do I really think that Alabama recruited all those players, clean? No, of course not. But at least there was a minimum. Like, you had to like get around it. Like, you had to hide it, and like you couldn't do it out. This was like there's legitimate limits to what you can do, because you can only pull off so much with something is illegal and being monitored. But if it's just willy nilly, do what you want. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be a disaster. That's my take. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's funny that I'm not. This is not like a criticism. I think it's just funny that I get the difference. So it just don't take this seriously. But like when you were saying this, I was like, man, I thought Kenny liked capitalism. Why doesn't he like all these top colleges being able to pay for all these players? But I do get it's sport. It's like it's not real life. So I do understand it. So
I mean, unless we don't want games to be competitive, I don't know. I mean.
Right. Well, we saw it in the first round of the playoffs. Even the teams that got in that were on the lower rung, like even though they're higher seeded for some reason, they couldn't compete with the top teams, and just taking the favorites was the right way to go. So Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like the teams or the schools that have the most money are going to benefit much more. And what you said was also correct about like the players who are already getting stuff, from boosters and stuff like that. You had like the whole Reggie Bush saga, of course. A lot of the players were like I know personally from. I don't want to get in trouble here, but I know players who had, and you guys knew what school I went to. I knew players who had their, apartments like, hey, I have a new PlayStation 3. It was back then, or PlayStation 2, I guess back then. Hey, I got this TV. Where'd this come from? So like, this stuff always happened, but now like they're getting the money directly instead of like, hey, where did I get this PS2? So it's kind of it's like official now. So there's not like anyone going to be in trouble for this, like which is always so stupid. Like the whole Reggie Bush stuff is ridiculous. But I do think the players should be compensated because like they make so much money for these schools.
Right.
But I do think you're right. Like a cap of sorts would make a lot of sense, and so that would even the playing field because right now I think we're going to see like the same 12 to 15 schools each year just be in it. Well, it's going to be like Ohio State, Michigan, Texas, USC, Penn State, like who else am I missing? Georgia, Alabama. It's going to be like the same schools every year. Although you could make the case it's like always that way. Like sometimes you get like a rogue team in there, but right, it's going to be even more blatant that way. So I think you're right. I think there should be a cap of sorts, and so you can't like spend an obscene amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't even know if a cap. At the end of the day, if you have a cap, there's going to be teams that get around it by with the boosters and the off the. So I really think it's going to be. It's like, the way baseball does it, where it's like you could spend whatever you want, but you got to pay a luxury tax. You pay over a certain amount, you've got to pay into a luxury tax pool, which then gets distributed amongst the other teams.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But then you have such a. Large. Such a large number of schools, right? You got 135 D1 schools, something like that, right? Or FBS or whatever they call it now. Is it FBS? That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's Division 1A to me. I can't get the FBS.
I know. The 1A, 1AA. It's how I say it.
So I think college football is in some serious trouble in terms of competitiveness. Like I think they're going to make their. I mean, we've already seen that in some sports, like the NHL and the NBA, and in baseball too. Like, although baseball makes so much money on local TV, but NBA and NHL, like their ratings regular season are so like the regular seasons are so limited. They make so little money off those because they're just kind of rendered obsolete. And yeah. I think college football is in a dangerous territory there.
Yeah, I agree. Mike says make that 3-year-old practice his punting. I don't know if I ever told you my plan was to get my son to be a college football punter, so I don't have to pay for college. Because like at the very worst, he gets a scholarship for punting because like no one does it, So I'm gonna like when he turns like 8 or 9, I'm gonna like hire a former punter to teach him how to punt, and then if he goes to the NFL, he makes millions of dollars, right? And then what's like the worst that's gonna happen to him? He's gonna like suffer torn ACL. Like these punters don't suffer concussions, like so there's no like long-term health issues. So I don't know. I think it's a great idea. You have a son too. Maybe you should enlist your son as a punter as well.
I was going to make my son be a left-handed reliever.
Okay, makes sense.
The athletes that make the most amount of money per capita, but like if you take the amount of like energy and like effort put forth versus how much money you can make per ounce of energy, whatever the unit of how we measure energy and effort. Per thimble of energy or effort put forth on a per capita basis, left-handed relievers far away make the most amount of money. So
okay, that's good. Yeah, I like your plan too.
And what if my son is right-handed? No, he won't be. He'll be left-handed. He's not allowed to use his right hand. So we will tape his right hand behind his back. He eats with his left hand. He's 1.5. He does everything with his left hand. I make him. Nice. I'm only kind of kidding.
Kind of. No, I think my son is left-handed. Like he eats with his uses a fork with his left hand. He draws with the left hand. But I was told it's still too early to tell, so I don't know. But he might. Maybe I'll make him a punter and a left-handed reliever. He would be like Deion Sanders, who plays 2 sports.
That's right.
So we can do that. NCAA's Leadership's Week, and based on recent testimony to Congress, is run by limp-wristed leftist. Sounds about right. Did you see the Kyrie Irving final shot? Yeah, that was terrible. I can't believe we lost on that. That's ridiculous. So that sucks. And we also, I mean, there was a missed free throw right before that too. So I feel like if they were down 5, he wouldn't have shot it because, if you're down 4, you draw the foul and get a 3, like you have a chance. If you're down 5, he probably just dribbles it out or something. I don't know. It sucks. Can Kenny spell Eagles? Did you hear the Philadelphia mayor?
No.
Oh my God. She was like ELGSLS. She had no idea to spell. I don't even know her name. I don't live in Philly, so I didn't vote in the mayoral race here. Like I live in Feasterville, so it's like right outside of Philly. So I have no idea what her name is, but she kind of lacks second grade spelling skills, which
rough.
I feel like other mayors have had. John Street, for example, I don't think he knew how to spell either. Most punters are holders too, have to learn how to deal with their fellow quirky place kickers. That's true. Yeah, he'll have to learn how to hold and throw left-handed. So, all right, let's see if you have anything else. Do you have anything else from the NFL games, or do you want to jump into this?
I do think there's something to the national narrative that the Chiefs are being a lot of favor by the refs. Like I just think it's so bad. Like some of the calls in the Texans game was so bad. I think it's so like you're just like the one that where he slides and the 2 Texans defenders hit each other. Just and I reckon like the referees are going to try to protect their quarterbacks. I get it, but then I watched Jared Goff pretty much get like just freaking assassinated in the game. It seemed just mauled across the face, and they don't call it. And Jalen Hurts gets hit. Jaden Daniels gets hit out of bounds. And you're just like, guys, like just call it. Like I don't get why replays this is not a thing. Anyway, that's it. In addition to that, or that aside, it was one of the most entertaining weekends of football. I mean, all 4 games were fun to watch. Just so good.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. What were your thoughts on the Eagles game? Cinder wants to
know. I mean, they won, so it was great. It was the greatest game ever. Anytime they win, it's the greatest game ever. So every game they've ever won is tied in first place for greatest game ever. The snow made it. It was horrendous. I didn't realize it looked terrible. The Eagles defense looks legit. Although they go long stretches where they can't stop the run. It's weird. It was a fun game to watch. Jalen Hurts. The Eagles, by the way, I got a fun stat for you. In Jalen Hurts' career, they have played. I forget the number of playoff games he's played. I think it's 6. He's played as quarterback. Is that right?
They had 3 in the 2022 run. They had 1 last year, and then they had 2 so far this year, so 6.
Yeah. So they're in the 7 games they've played with him at quarterback, 7 playoff games. If he throws for more than 250 yards, they are 0-3. Every time he's thrown over 250 yards, they've lost all 3 games. Anytime he's thrown for under 250 yards, they are 4-0. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what the right diagnosis there is, but I think it's pretty remarkable. So
it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense if you're behind, you're going to throw a lot. If you're ahead, you're just going to run.
In the Super Bowl, he played lights out. The greatest game of his career, barring away, was in the Super Bowl. He played unbelievable in that game, and they lost because the guy on the other side played even more unbelievable.
Yeah, that's true. How do you feel about the games coming up? As Cinder's asking, the Redskins at Eagles, and then I don't know if you want to share about Bills and Chiefs.
Yeah, I am rooting for the Eagles, obviously, and I like both the Bills and the Chiefs. I think this is fun. I think I sort of would root for the Bills a little bit, and I think they're probably the right side. I don't know what the line is. +1, +2?
+2.
I think the Bills are the right side, but I think it's close. I think the Eagles are the right side, and I am moderately confident. So I'm 60-40 that they'll win this game and cover. I think they're +6, +5.5 some places. I think. Yeah, I think they win and cover. I think it's more than likely than not.
Yeah, do you have any concern about Hurts's injury? That's the only worry I have.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Of course I am. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, if he's 80%, they're going to play him. And, the mobility is going to, I think Hurts he's, he's playing well early in the game. If he's mobile, if he's 80%, I think he's fine. He just holds the ball too long. I think at the end of the day, his health is not the issue; it's his head. But the 78-yard run from Saquon there at the end, which I thought iced the game, and then turns out didn't ice the game. But that run 78 yards, Hurts actually checked into that play. They had a different play called. Hurts saw the defensive alignment, and he checked into that play because he saw that the way the design of the play was for that jump cut, and he saw that, and so he read the defense perfectly. He checked into the perfect play, and it worked. So at the end of the day, he's still he gets dogged on a lot, or he can't read defense, blah blah blah. I'm sometimes he doesn't process, sometimes he holds the ball too fast, but at the end of the day, he's won twice as many playoff games as Dak, and has played a lot less years, right? So I think he'll be fine. I think the Eagles are the better team here. Whether or not they can beat the Bills or the Chiefs, I have a question on that. But I think they should. If they don't win this game, I think it's because something terrible went wrong. Multiple turnovers, or the injury was just way worse than we thought, or God forbid, or Barkley get hurt. There's some. If they lose this game, something terrible went wrong.
Speaking of terrible, Jake Elliott missed 2 extra points. My dad called me this morning and was like, he asked me what the line was on the Eagles-Redskins game, and he asked me to bet it for him. And he's like, make sure it's 6. I don't want 6.5. I don't want Jake Elliott screw me again. And then he's like, I swear it was fixed. Jake Elliott's done this before. He's fixed this game. So I don't know. That was brutal because I had -7. Of course, he missed 2 extra points. And when the Rams, they kicked all their extra points, they made all of them. Of course, they can't miss one. So
Elliott has been he's been shaky all year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You think he could hit some extra points, though? I know the weather wasn't great, but I mean, in the first quarter, the weather was fine. If he misses one in the snow, I can understand, but that was the second miss of the day. If he hits one, we push, which is not the worst. We would have had a monster week if the Eagles covered, because I went 3-0 against the spread otherwise, and I hit the same game parlay in the Eagles-Rams game, so we would have won $1,700 on our bets. Had the Eagles covered, but unfortunately we did not. We did not come close to that because that was one of our 2 big plays. So that didn't work out, but maybe we can win a lot of money here on DraftKings. There's $1 million of
not likely.
plays. Not likely. With that attitude, of course we can't. But I don't know. I think we have a chance. You never know. Look. Last time I won a GPP, it was week 2 of 2023. It was the 2-game Monday night slate. Remember, it was the Panthers-Saints game and then the Steelers-Browns game where the Steelers had 2 pick sixes off Deshaun Watson. I made I think I made 2 lineups that day, and I made one. I put a lot of thought into one, and then the second one, my dog was he was bleeding from his ear or something, and there was blood everywhere, and I as I was cleaning his ear, I was just thinking about that lineup. I'm like, let me make that change. So I made a change to the lineup real quick, and that's the lineup I won with the GPP. I didn't put much thought into it, and it's kind of funny how that works out. Where obviously I know the players, I know the matchups, stuff like that, but not thinking too much of it, and then I just won, and it just happened. So I think it happens when you least expect it. So. I don't know. Maybe your negative energy means that we're going to win this week. So, I don't know. I think we should. There are only 2 teams, so we can just go position by position. And I know you made a lineup before we started recording. I think I have 3 or so lineups made already. Let me see. Yeah, I have 3 lineups made. So, it would start a quarterback. So we have Josh Allen at 7,500. All these quarterbacks are spaced $500 apart. Jane Daniels 7,000, Jalen Hurts 6,500, Patrick Mahomes 6,000. Where are you starting the quarterback? Do you like any of these one or two above the others, or are you like even on these?
Yeah, I think Mahomes at 6,000 is the best bet on
Really?
this. Yeah, he's the best value. Sorry, not best bet, best value. So I should say. Mostly because like we've seen, the statistics, what the Chiefs have done over the last few weeks was a significant uptick over what they've done over the course of the whole season. So like we've seen the Chiefs playing better, producing more over the last few weeks, and so I can imagine that will continue. We've talked about this all year, right? Like they were doing the bare minimum they needed to do to win games, and then later in the year they started to turn it up. This has kind of become like this was the Patriots' MO for years. This is kind of becoming the Chiefs' MO now. And so I could easily see Mahomes just totally going off of this game, just saying like, that's what we got to do. And we've also seen teams move the ball in the Bills over the last few weeks. Like their defense is not this impenetrable, brick wall. We've seen Jared Goff put up a bunch of points on them. We've seen quarterbacks move the ball. I mean, the Ravens moved the ball pretty effectively in this game, this past week against the Bills. They just, turned the ball over and made some dumb penalties or, kind of dumb plays and stupid moments. And so like, I think the Ravens could have easily put up, more offense, another 100 yards of offense if they had not played stupid in this game. So I think the Bills are susceptible. And so I think Mahomes at 6,000 feels like good value to me.
Interesting. I didn't like. I personally didn't feel like I needed the value at quarterback this week. Like, and we'll get to the other positions. Except for Saquon Barkley, like, there's no real high priced player. Like, there's no $8,000 receiver. Travis Kelce's the most expensive tight end, but even his price is pretty reasonable. And like I said, outside of Saquon Barkley, there's no other running back too. Like James Cook is next to 6,900. So, and it's not like he has a good matchup. So. I felt like Mahomes, while like I agree, like 6,000 is a good price for him compared to the other quarterbacks. I just didn't think it was necessary to get to him. I personally was playing the top two quarterbacks, Josh Allen. He has major rushing upside here. The last time he played Kansas City, he had 24 DK points as opposed to Mahomes in that matchup. He had 17. He had 55 rushing yards. The Chiefs allow a lot of rushing yards. The Chiefs allowed 122 rushing yards to Lamar Jackson in week one. So against running quarterbacks this year, the Chiefs have struggled. So I like Allen and I like Jane Daniels. I think that the Eagles defense could do well against Daniels, but I think that there's a chance in the fourth quarter Daniels kind of goes nuts and has like a lot of garbage time stats. Kind of like what I thought might happen in the Detroit game. The last time he played the Eagles, he had one of those drives at the end. He had 36 DK points. The first time he only had 14, but he was not healthy for that game, so it's kind of hard to kind of factor that in. But I think there's a chance that he gets there in the fourth quarter. As far as Jalen Hurts is concerned, the issue is the injury. Look, if you play him, you're getting a discount. I think it's 6,500. Because he should be, like, when he's healthy, he should be priced up with these top two guys because of his great rushing potential. So if you want to take a risk here, I don't hate it. Like, I think, like, I feel like a lot of people aren't going to play Jalen Hurts. And if you play him and he's running around just fine, like, you're going to be really rewarded. It's only $500 more than Mahomes. I think he's the best value on the slate, although there carries a lot of risk because of the injury, obviously.
Yeah, I think I kind of felt what you were saying. You didn't need the value. I was feeling like I didn't need the risk of Jalen Hurts.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. But
I'm not sure. Like, when it comes for stacks, like I'm not sure. Like, I feel like the Eagles stack right now is like would be expensive for a value that I'm not sure I'm going to get. So I'm not confident AJ Brown's fully healthy, and I'm not confident they're going to get the ball to AJ Brown. The Eagles have gone. I mean, like, when you think about AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, let me ask you this question. I'm curious what you say. Mm-hmm. When you think about Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, Hurts and Brown's career together. Now this is their third full season they've played together. Yeah. What do you think of when you think of that passing connection?
What do I think of it? I mean, they have some big
what image pops in your mind?
What image? I mean, they have some big plays, like
big plays. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
The down, like that's the. I mean, you think about the Pittsburgh game a couple years ago in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. Unbelievable big. Like the Eagles have gone 8 straight games. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight games without one single pass play that went more than 35 yards. Like,
really interesting.
I couldn't believe it. They've gone 3 consecutive games now. 3 consecutive games where AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts have, or when they're on the field together, Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, where they have, in their last 3 full games, they've had, I think, a total combined of like 7 targets to AJ Brown over 3 full games, like something ridiculous. Now, there were a couple games in there where AJ Brown was playing with other quarterbacks, obviously, so he had some other targets. But I mean, it's really remarkable. I mean, he had a grand total of like 3 catches in the last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
That stack is expensive, and I'm not sure it's going to be corrected this week. I'm not confident in that. So I think about Jalen Hurts, who I stack him with. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with AJ Brown. I'm getting ahead of ourselves here, but like, I think that also played a part in my thinking of who I want at quarterback, because I'm not sure I love that stack. It feels expensive.
Well, you don't really even have to stack Jalen Hurts with anyone. I mean, you can always add a pass catcher like Brown or Smith or Goddard, but Hurts, when Hurts gets there, it's usually the rushing. He usually gets like a couple touch pushes, and then like you just don't need the receiver. Like this game, for example, he had 31 DK points against Dallas. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. He only had 202 passing yards. This one, he had 35 DK points. He had 3 rushing touchdowns. He only had 236 passing yards. So like you can play Hurts naked or like Hurts and Barkley. You don't even need a receiver. And I think that's going to be kind of unique, because like I feel like the tendency is someone plays Hurts, like they're going to want to force one of those receivers. And I don't think it's like necessarily correct. Now, I'm not saying it's not correct either, but like you don't have to do it. And so I think if you play like Hurts and Barkley, I think that's like so unique that, on a 2-game slate. Like there's not enough unique things happening. And like, first of all, people are not going to want to play Hurts because the Q tag and the injury. And second, like Hurts plus no receiver, no one's going to do that, I feel like. So, in a contest with how many people are in this, 141,000 people, like that's just a way to just differentiate yourself, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay. So is that a Kellen Moore stat? So AJ Brown crying and whining is what comes to mind for me. I hope someone sends him my book. He's reading this book on the sideline. I tweeted like, someone please send him Jerks to the College Years.
That book that he was reading on the sideline, Internet Excellence, was the #1 selling book on Amazon for like 5 days straight.
I saw. That's funny how that works. That's why I want him to read my book. How great would it be if it's like reading Jerks to the College Years, having a good laugh? That would be awesome. All right. Let's go to running backs. Saquon Barkley's 8,600. I feel like he's going to be so highly owned. Everyone's going to play him. He's like by far the best player on the slate. Like there's no one close. So you just jam him in and then just call it a day. There's James Cook at 6,900, Brian Robinson 5,600, Kareem Hunt 54, Austin Eckler 53, Isaiah Pacheco 52, and then you get to some of these punts. You have Gainwell 46, Ty Johnson 44, Ray Davis 43, Samaje Perine 42, and then all the 4K guys. I don't see anyone there doing anything. Maybe McNichols, but I don't think you need to go there. Who are you playing at running back?
I mean, I want Barkley in every lineup I can get him in.
Mm-hmm.
There might be, if you're going to do a bunch of lineups, if you're going to do 100 lineups, 150, whatever, something like that, or 20 lineups and a 20 max, then yeah, you want to vary it. But if you're just doing a handful of lineups or just single entry, it's hard to get away from Barkley. I mean, he's playing so good. The chasm between the Eagles' offensive line's ability to run block versus pass block is pretty significant. The pass blocking has been pretty mediocre over the last several weeks. It's not been great. And so the combination of that and Hurts holding the ball is not phenomenal. And their run blocking has been so good. And so I just think Barkley is the guy to own. And then the Redskins have shown they're susceptible against the run. They give up a lot of big plays on the ground. We've seen that multiple times this year. And I just think I think it's awesome. I think you have to make a decision. If you're building a lineup, you got to either decide. Do you think you have to kind of almost start with Saquon? Are you going to be with Saquon and be with the chalk because you're going to have so many people that have him in lineups, or are you intentionally going to be contrarian? That's kind of your starting point to build your lineup because he's so expensive. He has to kind of be the first major decision you're making in these situations. And I just can't see the contrarian position being the wise position. So, do I think he's going to go for 202 touchdowns? Probably not. But would it shock me? No, not the way he's playing right now. Not the way his offensive line is playing. Not with the confidence they have in him. The offense built around him. I mean, the Eagles have had some really good running backs in my lifetime watching them. Ricky Waters, Brian Westbrook, Deuce Staley, LaShawn McCoy was great. But I tell you, Saquon's better than all of them. He's a next level guy that I never seen this before. And the way he's playing right now is remarkable. I mean, it's LaDainian Thomas in 2006. It's Terrell Davis 1998, Marshall Faulk 2001. Like that's about those are the only 3 seasons I've ever seen that compared to what I'm watching right now with Saquon. And so I just all that to say, I don't care. He could be $10,000. I'd still be starting with Saquon.
Well, here's the question. What do you think the odds are, or like what's the percentage chance that he's in the winning lineup?
High, very high.
Like I mean, give me a number.
65% to 75% chance. 75% chance.
Okay, so all right. So you take your 75% chance to be in the winning lineup, and then you factor in ownership. So if his projected ownership is above 75%, if it's like 85%, then it makes sense to not play him, right?
Right.
Because, but if it's lower than that, then it makes sense to play him because then he's on their own. Do you want to guess what his projected ownership is? I just looked it up.
Oh, you did? I was going to pull it up. That's a good question. I wonder how many people are going to. I mean, it's easily. I mean, it's certainly above 50%. Yes. I would guess it's going to be in the. My guesstimate would have been 65%, but the way you smirked made me think it's higher than that.
Well, smart. That is.
I'm going to guess 68% is the projected ownership.
You're more correct the first time when he says 61%.
Okay.
According to Line Star. So and then you said you think there's a 65 to 75% chance of winning lineup. So that tells you that playing him is correct. Like even though he's going to be the highest owned player on the slate, maybe he's not going to be high owned enough.
Right.
And you got to think about it this way, like hypothetically, it's never going to happen, but hypothetically, if Barkley were 100% owned, it would make sense not to play him because like the chance that he's in the winning lineup is not 100%,
right? Because
he could always suffer an injury, like maybe he gets vultured at the goal line every time, and it just doesn't get there, and so you would automatically have leverage on that. Just take an extreme example, so. But the other way is true. If it was 0% owned, you would obviously play him. So if you deem that he's on their own, which you just did, then it makes sense to play him. But obviously, if you're playing 150 lineups, you don't want to play him in every single lineup. Like you said, if you think he's 75% likely, then you play him in 75% of your lineups, or try to get there that way. So I do not mass multi-enter. I used to do that for baseball. Those days are over because I have kids now, but I do like single. I do like the 3 max basically for the NFL. So I've made one lineup already for the 3 max. What I've been doing is I've been making a new lineup every day, just like what I'm thinking that day, and I just leave the old lineups just in case they do well. Like I won't change them unless there's an injury. So like I'll be making a new lineup tonight. I haven't done a Hurts lineup yet, so I might do it. As far as the other running backs, you have Cook. I think he's very expensive at 6,900. He has touchdown potential for sure. He can get there. Last time he played the Chiefs, what did he do? He had 19.7, which at 6,900, that's definitely good enough on the 2-game slate. So you can definitely play Cook. Robinson, I don't like. I know he just scored, but this is a tough matchup. The Eagles are number 1 against the run. You just said that the Eagles have like some spurts where they don't play the run well. I think maybe that's because Nakobe Dean is out. but I don't really see Brian Robinson doing much, especially in a deficit. Like he got there last week, but they were ahead. Like they're probably gonna be behind this week, so I don't like it. I do like Eckler, and Cassandra just pointed Eckler out. Eckler is going to get a lot of dump off passes, and the last time he played the Eagles, he was out in the second matchup. The first time, he had 8 receptions for 89 yards and a touchdown, 17.6 DraftKings points. I can see something similar happening this week, where he just gets a lot of dump offs, and he gets like 12, 13, 14 DK points, and like that's good enough. So I'm starting with Barkley and Eckler in my first 3 max lineup. So what do you think about these other running backs?
I don't think I want any of the Redskins guys because of the probability that the Eagles are able to stop them, shut them out on the ground. I think the higher probability is that most of their scoring is going to come through the air. And so I would I don't think I love either one of those guys. My favorite other running back is probably Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's a little bit cheaper than Hunt. I think there's an equal opportunity in this game that they score. I like Pacheco to be the late surging guy. We saw this 2 years ago. He was kind of not the main guy, and then all of a sudden, as the playoffs went on and into the Super Bowl, he became the playing guy. So I kind of like. I think I like Isaiah Pacheco a little bit less expensive than Kareem Hunt. I could see him being a surprise player, a guy that I wouldn't expect that guy to break out and get 10 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown.
Any concern with Pacheco's carries going down each week? It's like 14, 13, 9, 6, 5. Like it just keeps dropping. Like he's like barely used last week. I think Hunt had more touches. Hunt had 8 carries and 1 catch, so he had almost double the number of touches that Pacheco had. Any interest in Hunt? He seems to get the goal line carries too.
Yeah, although he hasn't been good. Like he's kind of been like eh. Yeah. And so I'm not sure that I'm like super impressed with Kareem Hunt at current time. He hasn't been, at least in my opinion, he hasn't been good in those opportunities. And so I could easily see that shifting to, back in the direction of Pacheco.
Yeah, I do think Pacheco is better. He's obviously a better player. I don't know if he's healthy. That's the issue.
It could be.
It could really be like the fact that his carries are going down. Like it just like maybe he's returned too early. I could see him having a great year next year. But right now it just doesn't seem very effective. I'm not opposed to playing him though. Like 5,200, he could get there. I think I'd rather play Hunt at 54, but Eckler is my favorite 5K guy personally. Any interest in Gainwell, Johnson, Davis, P. Ryan?
The only guy that I would have some interest in to have, if you played several lineups, to have Johnson in. We've seen him. John, he gets red zone targets. He's involved in he gets a lot of snaps. So there's no one on this. There's no one on this team that is like a target rich guy outside of James Cook. There's everything else is kind of a mix. But I think Johnson's the guy that I think would, is worth a target or worth a dart throw.
Yeah, I think if you want to just punt it at a position, you could definitely go with him. There's another Bills player I think you could punt with as well. We'll get to him in a little bit. Let's go to receivers. Let's focus on the top end guys. There are 5 guys over 5K. AJ Brown, 68. Terry McLaurin, 67. Devontae Smith, 58. Khalil Shakir, 57. And Xavier Worthy, 55. This is what I'm talking about. There's no AK receiver. There's no like Justin Jefferson or Puka Nacua or whoever on the slate. So we have a bunch of cheap guys, and that's why I didn't really need to get to Mahomes. AJ Brown has done nothing recently, which could make a good play, honestly. Like, he's been dealing with a knee of sorts, but he dropped a touchdown or almost a touchdown. It was a deep pass last week. I don't know if he would have gotten into the end zone, but like it was really close. So if he catches that pass, I think we look at him a little bit differently right now. But I just think that he could be a sleeping giant of sorts. And he had 7 targets last week. It was a snowy game. We'll see about the conditions. I don't know what the conditions will be yet, but I think there's potential with him. McLaurin, I think, will be higher owned than AJ Brown. I'm just going to look right now. I'm not. They're not showing it. So I'll have to look somewhere else. I assume that McLaurin's gonna be higher owned just because he's had 18, 21, 20. Like people see this, like they're gonna want to play him. Devontae Smith. I was all over him in this game. I almost won the showdown in this game. I had like all Eagles stack. I played the wrong Cowboy. If I played the right Cowboy, I would have won the showdown. Unfortunately, I played Turpin instead of I think I forget who the correct Dallas player was, but it was I think it was Tolbert. I think he was the right guy. Anyway, so there's Devontae Smith. Khalil Shakir, he's super consistent, like 6 catches. He always gets like 6 or 7 targets. I don't know if that's good enough for 5,700. Like the price has gone up. It was 5,000 last week. And then there's Xavier Worthy, who has been pretty productive late in the year. Not so much last week, but this is a really good matchup for him in the slot. The Bills have had trouble defending slot receivers, so I like Worthy this week. What are your thoughts on these top 5 receivers?
The 3 last guys you just mentioned are my 3 favorite guys. In my ideal lineup, those are my 3 receivers: Shakir, Smith, Worthy. Okay. Shakir, the price has crept up a little bit, but he is super consistent. You know, in the world of PPR, you love that. Also, the types of runs, like the types of routes that he runs, the route concepts that Shakir runs are very similar to what the Texans do with Nico Collins. And we saw Nico Collins just have like a lot of he was wide open in a lot of ways throughout that game, the Texans Chiefs game. So like I could see the Bills mimicking some of that. I could see Shakir getting really open, and so not only getting the consistency of the catches, but I think he could have like 1 or 2 big plays down the field that really kind of pads his stats. And so I like him a lot, actually. He's my favorite receiver at the price point this week. Devontae Smith is the guy I love the most, I think, in this lineup. I think when I look at the Washington defense and how they match up, the situation going on the Eagles passing game, I think Devontae Smith is the guy that's most likely to be the most consistent in this game. So I think I like him a lot, and I like the lower price point. And then Worthy, I think Worthy's shown he can be a big play guy, and seems like Mahomes is continuing to trust him more and more. I think he's got great opportunity in this game against the Bills. I think the Chiefs can put up some points. So I think of all the guys, those are my favorite. The guy that I would probably stay away from the most is AJ Brown. Just so expensive. I'm just not sure what to do. I'm just not sure I like what I see. Of course, now that I say that, he'll have 8 catches for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns, and I'll be glad to be wrong. McLaurin to me is more of a neutral play. He's put up good numbers against the Eagles, but I still trust the Eagles defense quite a bit. Vic Fangio is one of the best defensive masterminds in recent NFL history. They've seen this team twice now this year. I could see Fangio really trying to take him away effectively, and so I trust that the Eagles will keep him in check. I think he's still going to score points, no doubt. He'll probably return value on the 6,700. But I feel more neutral on him. I'm down on Brown. Love the other 3 guys.
It makes sense. I do think that the one thing I disagree with you on is AJ Brown being expensive. I know he's the most expensive player on the slate, but he was 8K in week 15. Like he was 8K, 81, 83. Like there's a stretch where he was 8,000 or more for most of these games, and now he's 6,800. This is the cheapest he's been all year, like by far. I mean, last week 7,000, but excluding last week, like by far 7,500 was the cheapest he was otherwise. So I think we are getting a discount on him. And like I said, I don't think anyone's going to want to play him. They see the Q tag, they see lack of production recently. They're going to want to play McLaurin. McLaurin is going to be the highest owned receiver on the slate. Yeah. I just think that there's a good leverage point here with Brown. Now, and look, you could be right about him this week. Like he could be a total dud again. But I don't know. At some point, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and the fact that he hasn't done anything recently, I think that if Jalen Hurts is healthy, he might go to him quite a bit here. So, and we just saw what Mike Evans did to Washington's defense 2 weeks ago. Evans had a big game. I think AJ Brown could have a big game too.
Yeah, I will. But the routes that Mike Evans runs a lot are the Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert type. Like I think there's more overlap there.
Yeah. And he's really fun.
Now that I've said this on the record, it definitely means that AJ Brown's going to go crazy.
Yeah. And he was really finding ways to get Worthy the ball at the rushing and receiving yards. Yeah, I like Worthy this week. Matt Collins, who won the dart throw, or as Tom calls him, Fred Flintstone, or as you call him, something else. He was just starting to read the Bible, so God is on his side. There you go. All right, let's get to.
I don't think that's how it works. I read the Bible. I don't think that's how God works.
All right. Let's get to the 4K receivers before we get to the super cheap guys. There are 4 of them: Hopkins 47, De'Ami Brown 44, Marquise Brown 42, and Amari Cooper 41. Any interest in these guys?
I mean, not really. There's none of them that I love. I just feel like if I'm going to take a dart throw, there's cheaper guys I'd rather take a dart throw at. The guy that I still believe in, just in pure talent, is Amari Cooper. Did I say Amari? I feel like I used to call him Amani Cooper because I just couldn't figure it right. I finally got his name right. It's Amari Cooper. He's the guy just on pure talent. He's the guy I still trust. But we just haven't seen him. He's been non-existent in the offense. He's not a focal point. So it's hard to trust him. I look at those players and go, Cooper's the guy that's the most talented. In theory, he should be getting some action here, but it's not happening. So I don't know what to do.
You're thinking about Amani Toomer as opposed to Amari Cooper. The well-dressed Amani Toomer. I don't know what to make of this. Like last week, I thought he had a good matchup. I guess the game script was weird because Buffalo was up for most of the game, and so they didn't have to attack downfield. So he didn't really catch anything, but I thought he'd at least do something. No catches. The week before, he had to deal with Surtain, so you can understand that. I think that he could have a sort of game like he had against the Jets, 3 catches, 56 and a touchdown. I think it's definitely possible. And if he does that at 4,100, I mean, you're going to do well. I don't know how many people are going to play this guy, especially after the 2 dud performances. No one's going to want to play him. So I think that he is definitely worth some consideration. Marquise Brown, I don't know if he has the upside. I think he'll get you 6, 7, 8 points, and I don't think that'll be good enough. De'Ami Brown just had 2 big games, so his ownership's going to be through the roof.
Yeah,
I'd rather play Cooper than Brown. Cooper is a far better player than De'Ami Brown, right? And he has, I'd say their matchups are pretty even. Eagles secondary is great, but the Chiefs do well against number 1 receivers, but still, I'd rather the talent's there at least with Cooper. It's not with Brown, so I think there could be some major regression for Brown this week. So I wouldn't want to play him. Maybe in a Jane Daniels stack like that. I wouldn't play him naked by himself. Only with Jane Daniels. And then no, we said De'Ami Brown already. And then Hopkins, he did nothing last week. I don't know, is this guy live? What was he doing? He gets
no attention to the offense whatsoever.
Yeah. Last time he had double-digit fantasy points was week 14. So he's going to be like Marquise Brown, where he gets 6, 7, 8 points, and it's not going to be good enough, especially at 47. Marquise Brown at least 42. So, all right, let's get to the 3K receivers. There's Olamide Zaccheaus at 39. He has a Q tag. I played him last week. That sucked because he left the game in the second quarter, so he didn't log a catch. And there's Keon Coleman at 37. I actually like Keon Coleman a little bit this week. The Chiefs are weak against number 2 receivers on the outside. He's the number 2 on the outside, so he could have a touchdown or so. He can get there at 3,700. I think he's a good value. Curtis Samuel, no thank you. Jahan Dotson. He caught a touchdown against the Packers. I think that's it. That's it for his what he's going to do in the playoffs. Don't play him. Matt Collins is, you can play Fred Flintstone here. He could catch a touchdown. I don't think he's that bad at 3,300, but I'd rather go elsewhere. And then I guess he had Juju Smith-Schuster and James Crowder. I'm not going to even highlight them. There's no point. So what are your thoughts on these 3K guys?
In theory, you probably should not be playing these guys in your lineup. But I kind of like Coleman a little bit. he's a unique character. Until you watch him play, he's got some good, like he clearly has good ball skills. He's fast. He kind of like he looks like the kind of player that you would think this guy would be productive. Like he looks like a productive receiver. Then you look at his numbers and you're like, oh, wait a minute, what happened? So yeah, I think I think he's when I watch him play, I go, this guy should be good, or at least should be productive. And so I'm willing to take a shot on Keon Coleman. You know, the other guy that I kind of like a little bit in the cheap range is Zacchaeus. You know, I think you know, 3,500. No, yeah, 3,900. You know, we've seen him. You know, get some targets. You know, you know, through the course of the year, it's streaky. But we do have. You know, he did score a touchdown. He did score 2 touchdowns against the Eagles last time they played. You know, maybe it's a little revenge factor. Just kidding. But you know, I think you know what we've seen with the Redskins over the course of the year is that they're very like, you know, they spread the ball around. It's very streaky. It's McLaurin, and then this guy will eat one game, and the next. There's no consistency, and so I feel like, you know, Zacchaeus is as good as anyone in the bunch, and yeah, I think we see like he's not done anything recently. Like I maybe he's due. Like it's been several weeks since he scored a touchdown. They kind of rotate guys and rotate who's going to be good one particular week. You got a Q tag on him. You know how you're going to be playing him. What's the ownership percentage on Zacchaeus here? Like, I mean, 1%, if that.
Yeah, it's pretty low. Yeah.
So I don't know. At 3,900, if you're trying to, you know, if you're trying to go, you get the best players on the slate everywhere else, and you need just a cheap flex. I think Zacchaeus is in multiple lineups that I built. The amount of money I had for flex was exactly 3,900. So I ended up with a lot of Zacchaeus and one other guy that we'll get to in a minute.
Okay, yeah, I like Zacchaeus as well. You just have to watch the practice reports. He was limited Wednesday, so not a bad start. But like I said, I played him last week and he got hurt and he left the game. So that was unfortunate. That kind of like tanked my Saturday lineups. Like if I played De'Ami Brown instead of him, like I would have made a lot more money. It's got that 0. It kind of sucked. All right, let's get to tight ends. I think we have to talk about Kelsey on his own. He's on an island here at 6K. Kelsey in the playoffs is a different animal. 27 fantasy points in the last game. He had 22 against the Steelers, but like we know what he does in the playoffs. I don't see why that would change. You know, Mark Andrews had a potential big game where he dropped 2 passes and fumbled. So, and then likely did well against the Bills as well. What did he do against the Bills the first time? He didn't do much. He only had 2 catches for 8 yards. But again, this is the playoff Kelsey. Are you playing Travis Kelce in your lineups?
Absolutely. Almost as much as Barkley. I think I'm starting my ideal lineup starts with Barkley and Kelsey. Of course, my ideal lineup also has Mahomes, so it's a perfect stack. But I think I don't know what the ownership percentage is going to be. You know, if we do the same math we did with Barkley, you know, what is the percentage chance that he's in the winning lineup? You know, I think based on what we've seen with the Bills' offense and what they've done to tight ends and to receivers. Kelsey's not a tight end, right? He's a receiver that moves all over the field and plays a lot of slot, right? Mm-hmm. What we've seen the Bills give up to those, what did the Bills give up to Amon-Ra St. Brown a couple weeks back? What they did to the Ravens players is like, I think Kelsey could have 33 DK points in this game. And so, yeah, I don't know what the ownership percentage is going to be, but the percentage chance that Kelsey is in the winning lineup is going to be higher than whatever the ownership is.
I think so too. I'd rather play, like if I had to choose one, it would be Barkley. But I imagine most of my 3 max and single entry lineups are going to have both Barkley and Kelsey for sure. So we definitely agree on that. Then we get to some of these other tight ends. We have Dallas Goedert, Q-Tag. He did not practice on Wednesday with an ankle. I don't know where this came from. He had a big game against the Rams. I love him against the Rams. We bet his receiving yards prop last week because the Rams can't stop tight ends at all. And on top of this, 456, he had a big play called back because Becton was downfield. That was very tilting. So he could have an even bigger game. There's Zach Ertz, who doesn't have a very good matchup. I think according to this, it says fifth. However, the two Rams tight ends scored last week. And in the first matchup against these teams, Zach Ertz scored a touchdown in garbage time. He had 18 fantasy points. And so I think that you could play him as well. He also has he didn't practice Wednesday, but they marked him down as rest, so he should be fine. And then there's Dalton Kincaid, who is 3,600. He does not have a double-digit performance since week 8, but this is a great matchup. The Chiefs are awful against tight ends. One of the worst teams in the NFL against tight ends. We played Dalton Schultz last week. We played his over receiving yards in a parlay. I love Dalton Kincaid this week. He's going to be one of my top prop players this week. So what are your thoughts on these next 3 tight ends?
Well, I'll start with Kincaid because a moment ago when I said my ideal lineup had $3,900 left for flex, and it was Zacchaeus and one other guy I kept getting to for flex, and that is Dalton Kincaid. He's my favorite flex. I think for the reasons you just said, right? I think he's going to be low owned. He's cheap, but we've seen what the Chiefs done against tight ends, and I can imagine that this game's going to be high scoring. The Bills might be behind. They may have to throw a lot. So I think this is a great matchup here. I love this. I love this for 3,600. Kincaid's my favorite. I'm going with the 12 personnel lineup in my DraftKings ideal lineup here. It's Kelsey and Kincaid. How often do you play a tight end as flex, right? Like that feels like but on a 2-game slate, right? There's not a lot of options. So
yeah.
So I think Kincaid is my most often flex in if I'm going with Kelsey and Barkley and I want to get to other players. Between Zacchaeus and Kincaid are the 2 guys that I really like a lot.
Yeah, I feel like I think a lot of people are going to do that. But I do love the matchup, so I'm definitely not opposed to it. Are you playing Goddard or Ertz at all?
Probably not. I mean, the Goddard play, by the way, he got down to he got inside the 1 yard or down to the 2-yard line or so he made a great play, broke a tackle on a screenplay. The Eagles run so few screenplays, which is always shocking to me because, like, with such an athletic offensive line, like, how do you not run more screens? But it's just like a non-existent part of the offense. But they actually ran some screenplays in this game. One of the Dallas Goddard, but Becton was like 2 yards down the field, and it was like on the other side of the field. Like, the play was on the left side on the field. Becton's a right guard, so it's just like it had no impact on the play whatsoever. And you're just like, why do they call? Like, it's such a dumb call that, like, it's technically yes, you can't be more than 1 yard down the field until the ball crosses the line of scrimmage. Like, I get that's the rule, but Becton was like barely down the field and it was irrelevant. Anyway, all that to say, Goddard made a great play, almost scores in that play, which kind of showed me like Goddard was their best receiving option in this game. And so, as much as I love Kelsey, I'm getting to him a lot, and I love Kincaid as the cheap kind of upside option. I think Goddard's a great play as well. I probably won't get to Goddard a lot just because I probably won't have enough lineups to get to him. I'm going to have so much Kelsey and Kincaid that I just probably won't get to Goddard. But I totally understand if someone wants to be contrarian, you want to zig while everyone's zagging. I think Goddard is a fantastic play.
All right. And then there's Noah Gray, Dawson Knox. I think, I've discussed them. Noah Gray has been somewhat productive at some points this year. He had a 10 here. He's only 3K. He had 18 fantasy points, by the way, against the Bills. So maybe someone's looking at that. I don't know if I'm going to play Noah Gray, but I don't think you at least have to consider him. And then there's Dawson Knox, who's 2,600. He gets about 2 or 3 targets each week, despite Dalton Kincaid being there. And like I said, the Chiefs are horrible against tight ends. The last time he played against the Chiefs, he had 8 fantasy points. If he gets you an 8 at 2,600, I think you're going to be pretty content with that. So do you have any interest in these 2 guys?
No.
The
thing with Knox, like, you make a good point, and he scored 8 fantasy points at 2,600. That's fantastic value. But I just think he sucks. So I just don't think he's gonna where like Isaiah like the Ravens have 2 tight ends that were highly involved. Isaiah Likely scores a touchdown, but it's like Isaiah Likely is like actually a decent player. Yeah, Dawson Knox not so much. Noah Gray was like one of my most owned players in my best ball lineups. But I don't. Yeah, we've seen nothing from him. Once Kelsey's turned it up, I just think this is going to be a Kelsey show. I think looking back at the Bills Chiefs game from this earlier in the season, it's hard to compare because I just, in my mind, I see such a difference between like AFC title version of the Chiefs versus regular season version of the Chiefs. Like,
Right.
They're almost two different teams in some ways, and so it's hard to totally. I just think this game is going to be just. I mean, I could see Kelsey getting like 15 targets in this game. I just think that's going to be the focus.
I think you're right. I do have some interest in Knox. I think I built one lineup with him. I know Kincaid wasn't in the first Chiefs game, but still, like, he's going to get some opportunities, and the Chiefs are really weak against tight ends. So I think 6 to 8 to maybe 9 fantasy points is possible for him in this game. Mooj asking, Hollywood Brown played 65% of plays last week. Thoughts? I mean, he's still getting worked into the offense. He's barely had time with Mahomes, so it's not a surprise, right? So I don't know. I mean,
I forget that he's on the. I regularly forget that he's on the team.
Yeah. It's hard to remember sometimes, just because he's barely done anything. He got hurt in the preseason. And then what week did he come back? It was week 16. So he's only had 3 games so far with this team. So, do you want to trot him out there for every play when he doesn't have experience? Like, you could run a wrong route and be responsible for a pick 6 or something. So it's pretty tough to justify that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the defenses. Kenny's favorite part. We have Eagles at 33, Chiefs at 31, Bills 29, Redskins 27. Like the quarterbacks, they're spaced evenly apart, $200 this time. Do you have any lean on these defenses? Personally, for me, it's anyone but the Redskins. I think you can play them evenly. I have no interest in Washington. What do you think?
I think I probably agree. Yeah, I think I think there's an argument to be made, like that. The Eagles' offense is not been explosive. They're not going to put up a lot of points. If Hurts is not mobile, maybe this is a high sack game. I think you make the argument at 2,700. Maybe the Commanders make the most sense, but I'm not going to make that argument. Others might, but I'm not. And so I'm with you. I think evenly space them out. The Eagles are the most expensive on the slate here. I get that. In normal circumstances, you would say, listen, the Eagles defense, of these 4 defenses, the Eagles defense is clearly the best defense of the bunch. They've got, veteran defensive coordinator Vic Fangio against a rookie quarterback. They're playing in Philadelphia. Like, this has the makings of a high-scoring defensive game. But, like, Jaden Daniels has been so good. He doesn't play like a rookie. He's been playing lights out. The Eagles have they're kind of banged up on defense a little bit. I could see the Eagles defense not having a lot of DK points this week because of the circumstances. So yeah, I wouldn't go all in. If you're only playing one lineup and you need the monies, then play the Bills. If you just need to save the cash. But if you can work it out, I think the Eagles is the ideal. In my ideal lineup, I'm playing the Eagles.
Last time the Bills played the Chiefs, they had 6 DK points, but the Bills don't turn it over. The last time the Chiefs played the Bills in that game, they had 1 DK point. So for me, if I were to order these, I think I'd go Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, Redskins. Although Redskins had 17 DK points last week because they had that pick 6. So I said I would not play them. I don't think it's like insane to play them. Like, if you need the $200 for whatever reason and you can't get to the Bills, it's fine. I don't think it's the worst thing to play Redskins, but I would rather not. I think the Eagles are going to take it to Washington this week. So,
by the way, my opinion, on a 2-game slate, there should be no defense. Just eliminate the defense and lower the.
Eliminate the defense entirely. You can get rid of it. Have a super flex or something, or another flex, or a second flex. Like, I hate defense. Like there's already enough variance in football with touchdowns and fumbles. Like, you don't need to add more variance with defense, because like really you're hoping for a defensive touchdown. Like, that's what you're hoping for with these defenses. Right. And so, like, that is so rare and so random that, like, it just seems so unnecessary to do it. At least they don't have kickers anymore. Remember back in the day they had kickers for DFS?
I think FanDuel still does, right?
No, they got rid of that.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah. FanDuel had kickers more recently than DraftKings. That was a nightmare. Although, to be honest, I'd rather have kickers than defenses. I just think that it makes more sense because kickers score points, whereas like defenses, like I know they score points too technically with defensive scores, but like it's kind of weird that they started. You get like 10 points right away, and then it decreases once they allow points. I don't know. And it's not like a single player either. I don't know. I think it's stupid.
I actually like it.
We'll disagree there.
But on a 2-game slate with only 4 options, I think it's lame. Just get rid of it. Like,
yeah,
I think, just
try
add a flex spot or lower the salary cap or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, why not experiment? Add a second flex. I think that'd be pretty interesting. Or try super flex. I think that'd be. Wasn't there? Didn't they have super flex in DraftKings? Didn't they do that one? Did they do that one year?
They did. Is that gone?
Yeah, I think it is. I think we liked it, and like we were doing content for it, and then they stopped doing it. I did like it. I thought that was better, but I don't know. People like playing the defenses. I don't know why. So, all right, let's.
I don't remember. I don't. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have it. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they. I think they replaced it with best ball, which is an upgrade. Best ball is great. All right, you want to build a lineup or two?
Yeah.
So let's. How about let's build 3 lineups. You build one, and then I'll build one, and then we'll collaborate on one.
All right.
All right. So you go first. If you want me to go first.
You go first. Yeah, you go.
I'll go first. Okay.
Yeah,
right,
I'll cheat off of you afterwards.
All right. Let's build this hypothetical Jalen Hurts lineup. That will be low owned. I like Hurts with Barkley. And I wonder if we could also get AJ Brown in there and like see what happens. And I do want Kelsey, and I like your Kincaid gambit. So let's put Kincaid in there. And I don't know. I usually don't like to play the defense with the quarterback because if the defense is scoring and then the offense doesn't have to score, you know what I mean? So I'd rather play Bills here. And so we have 5,200 left for 2 receivers and a running back. I think if we're not playing, Josh Allen, I think you have to play Cook. So I want to see what that looks like. We have 4,300 left per player. If we go, let me see what happens if we go Amari Cooper. I think we're already too many Bills, so we have 4,600. Now let's go down to. Actually, I don't think this will matter. If we go to Keon Coleman, we have 5,000. That still doesn't get us there. If we go to Mac Hollins, we have 5,400. It still doesn't get us to Worthy. I was trying to get to Worthy somehow. Maybe this is the Dawson Knox lineup or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or Noah Gray. I don't know what to do here. So any recommendations here? We can. I'm trying to think here. So if we go to Zacchaeus, what do we have? We have enough for Hopkins. I don't want to play Hopkins.
He sucks.
Or maybe we just bad Cook and just don't have Cook. I think that's wrong. Or maybe we get rid of AJ Brown and see what happens.
If you back it down to Devontae Smith, if you like Smith or not, like what does that get you?
I think that gets us there. I mean, we can get whatever we want. We can get Shakira or Worthy. We already have 2 Bills, so I think Worthy makes more sense. So, can we upgrade Zacchaeus? Let's see. We can upgrade Zacchaeus to Cooper, but then we'll have 3 Bills players.
Is that really an upgrade? Is that really an upgrade? Based on the way Cooper's played, I don't know if it's an upgrade.
Maybe not. All right. So, or we can upgrade the Hollywood Brown. So it's not an upgrade either.
It's the 4K bunch. That's a tough bunch.
It is. It's pretty rough. So, what do you think about this lineup? We have Hurts, Barkley, and Devontae Smith. We have Jared Cook, Olamide Zacchaeus, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, Kincaid, and Bills defense.
I mean, I think it's good. Like, do I think it's great? I don't know. I don't know. It's hard. I think that this is why I want you to go first. This is good. It helps me. It's good cheating. Like it feels like with Barkley and Cook, it feels hard to build a lineup that I love. But on a 2-game slate, you're not going to have a lot of great options. Like that's the nature of it. So
I know.
you're probably not going to go with a lot of you love, right?
Yeah, I really wanted to get AJ Brown in here.
I mean, if you put AJ Brown back in instead of Smith, and like what the options would be then you'd have to go.
I think this is what I was talking about before. You can just go to Knox, and it works.
Yeah,
I'm not like I don't love it, but like how much is Kincaid going to outscore Knox by? I don't know how to say it.
Yeah,
or we can go to we can do double Chiefs tight end. I don't want to do that. But
part of me just wonders though, like in this lineup though, if Knox doesn't score, doesn't have the big game, or doesn't have at least some production, this lineup is toast, right? Like if he gets 0, which feels likely.
Well, I don't think he's gonna get. I'm like if he doesn't do anything, he gets like 2 or 3 fantasy points, right? And like I don't know.
He had 2 targets last week, 1 catch, right?
He had 1 catch, 0 yards. Yeah, he had 1 fantasy point, but like he had a 5.8 here, 1.4, 4.2, 6.6. It's not like he has 0. He has never had 0. I guess week 5 and week 2, but he's always had like something.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know. I don't like. I wish there was another option here at tight end. You can go like I don't want to go Redskins defense. Like, I guess like the only other option is dropping Worthy. I want to play Worthy though.
Yeah. If you don't have Knox in that spot, what are the other $2,900 flex options?
It's just tight ends. So you have Calcaterra. If Goddard's out, I mean that's automatic.
Right.
But yeah, it's just Knox. You have Peyton Hendershot.
Garbage.
Yeah. All tight ends. It's all garbage tight ends. So.
Yeah. What I mean, if you take Zacchaeus out and you've got, what if you've got? Is there another 3K option you like instead of Zacchaeus there?
If the Chiefs didn't get their receivers back, Justin Watson would be interesting. But the problem is like with Marquise Brown and who else they get? And like Worthy doing more now. Like Justin Watson and Hopkins there now. Like Justin Watson's not doing anything, so you can't play him. I don't see anyone else here worth. Yeah, there's no one else here. So the cheapest guy I would look at is it's not really Crowder. I think it's Fred Flintstone. So if you put him in, you have 3,500 left, but that's still not enough for. I guess you can go. I mean, what's 35? You get Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson. Like it's not good. So you're still. I think you
go back to Zacchaeus and Knox as probably your. If you want AJ Brown and Barkley and Hurts, that 3-way stack, then Zacchaeus and Knox makes it happen.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, look, if Goddard's out, this automatically becomes very viable with Calcaterra there.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, I know. I'd rather have the Eagles win than this lineup look pretty. So,
I think, I think this is instructive in some ways in that, like, if you want to have a lineup that looks great, like that's an unrealistic expectation. Like you're going to have something in the lineup on a 2-game slate. You don't have as many options. You don't have many players to get to, and so you're going to have some slop. And it's just, and you hope your slop is better than the next guy's slop.
That's definitely true. Real fast before we move on, I'm kind of curious if you go to Josh Allen here and then you drop Jared Cook, you could get this lineup looks a lot better. I think you have Eckler and then you save 900 and then maybe that's not enough, but you can almost get to Kincaid. You drop from Zacchaeus to Keon Coleman.
I like that.
That looks a lot better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it actually looks like a better lineup.
It looks much better.
With Allen, Coleman, Kincaid stack. Yeah.
I think I built this exact lineup. I think. Let me see. Allen, Barkley, Eckler, not McLaurin. Allen, Barkley, Eckler, Brown, Worthy, Keon Coleman, Kelsey,
there
Kincaid,
it is.
Bills. I built this exact lineup. So I will go back to the other one because I already built this. But this does look so much better. I just wanted to see what a Hurts lineup would look like Maybe it's because I feel like if Hurts is your quarterback, I think you have to have Cook because that means Cook is doing most of this. I said Jared Cook, it's James Cook. I think that I think Cook is doing most of the touchdown scoring. If Hurts is the winning quarterback, that means that Allen isn't scoring as many touchdowns as
right.
James Cook. So that was my thinking there. I don't know why I said Jared Cook as James Cook.
Once upon a time, tight end.
I know. All right. Where we go here? We go to Zacchaeus. All right. I'm gonna enter this just so I have it saved, and then we will try another one. We will go with your lineup here in a second. Create new lineup. All right. Let's take us through this.
Yeah, I think my starting point is the Mahomes Kelsey stack. I still think, I like that action there. And then your point about like right, if Allen is not the winning quarterback, then that means Cook is scoring touchdowns. But I'm not sure I can build a lineup that's got Barkley and Cook, and I'm so convinced I want Barkley. So I think I have to forego Cook.
Okay.
It feels a little painful, but I just feel like I don't know that I can build a lineup and make it work. Right?
I just did.
I'm starting with different guys though. I know. And so to me, the three receivers that I think are my favorite bets for the receivers are Smith, Shakir, and Worthy, and they're all putting all those guys in a lineup, it eats up a lot of cash pretty quickly there. Yeah. Defense, I like the Eagles. I just think the Eagles, Barkley, there's a little correlation there, not a lot between, but I think there's some in this scenario. So I just, and so then now I'm like, okay, now I've got not a lot of money left in this scenario, and I got to figure out what to do. And I think I got to decide what I'm going to do on tight end before I see how much money I've left, running back before I figure out how much I left flex. I'm sorry, I have Kelsey. I meant to say running back, not tight end. So this is I think here that this is my favorite starting point, and I think I've got multiple combinations here, what I can do. And so for running back, if I go Hunt or Pacheco, if I go Hunt, let's start with Hunt. Okay, that leaves me with 3,700 on flex, and I can get the Keon Coleman there.
Yeah,
and I kind of like that lineup. I don't, but do I love Shakir and Coleman? Probably fine with that. Do I love Hunt, Kelsey, and Worthy in the lineup? Oh, I don't love that though. So I think I instantly am no longer loving that. I don't know that all those guys are going to eat, right? So I think I would back out Hunt and back out Coleman. And then I got to ask, okay, I have no one in Washington on this lineup. So yeah, I don't know that I love it. So I don't think I want Kareem Hunt, actually. I don't think he's the guy. I think and I think there's going to be someone on the Redskins that eats, right? I think someone other than McLaurin. And so, I think for my flex, I'm going to put in Zacchaeus and see what I have left for Zacchaeus. It's a long shot, and then I've got 5,200 for my running back. Do I like Pacheco there? Maybe. He's probably the best bet, right? So that's, so Mahomes, Pacheco, Worthy, Kelsey, I'm banking a lot. They're going to score a lot of points, but I think they're going to score a lot of points in that game. I think so I kind of like this lineup right here. I don't love it, but I think it's my favorite so far. What do you think?
I mean,
where's the downfall in this?
What'd you say?
Well, where's the downfall in this lineup?
I don't know if there's. I think this can win. Well, the downfall is on my end putting Zacchaeus in the flex. You never want to do that. You want to have the latest player in the flex. So in case there's an injury pre-game, you can have the best alterations. I mean, it's a Mahomes triple stack. I don't think a lot of people are going to do it, so I think that it could work. You said what's the downfall? I don't really see downfall. This game says to me that that the Bills are. I don't like. It feels like the Bills aren't represented in this lineup. I think that's the only thing I would say, because if the Chiefs are doing a lot of throwing with Mahomes, that says to me that they're playing from behind. And so like I feel like that's why I want James Cook in lineups without Allen, because I feel like one of Allen or Cook is going to have a great game.
Right.
And so, but I don't know how you would change that necessarily.
All right, let's swap out Pacheco for Cook and see where I have to sacrifice.
Okay. So you have 1,700 to get rid of.
I think you make a good point there.
Yeah. So you have 1,700 to get rid of. You can go from Devontae Smith to Amari Cooper. You can go from Khalil Shakir to a 4K guy. You can go from Shakir to Kincaid. And then
I love Shakir in this game though too. You know, but if Cook is, yeah.
You can go from Worthy to Kincaid, but then you get rid of your Mahomes triple stack. You can go from Devontae Smith to Cooper, Coleman, or Kincaid. But then I feel like you have too many Bills without Allen, which is weird.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep Smith in for a minute here, and let's eliminate Kelsey, and let's say Kelsey's not going to be my guy. Let's say I go to Goddard. Okay. What does that buy me?
You're still 200 over. You just go to a different defense at that point.
Right. So, but do I love Barkley Goddard without Hurts? And I don't know that I love that lineup either.
Barkley Smith Goddard. I mean, you were talking about how the Redskins weren't properly represented. Why don't you go to like Zach Ertz, and then your salary's fine?
Yeah, that's as much as I didn't like Ertz, it kind of feels like that's a good maneuver.
Yeah, I like this lineup.
Yeah.
I
think your point on Cook and Allen is a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be shocked if one of them is not in the winning lineup. I think one of them has to be, like, unless they get blown out or something, which I don't see. I think they win the game. So
let me build one more with a new thought with an Allen triple stack that I think I might like. Another. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. I'm gonna. This is your lineup, so I'm gonna clear this so we don't have duplicate lineups. So all right, go ahead.
If I go Allen, Shakir, and Kincaid, right? And because I think they're just throwing the ball over the field, all over the place here.
Okay.
And then in that case, if they're throwing the ball over the place, the Chiefs are running the ball effectively. And I guess I got to go Kareem Hunt, even though I said I like Pacheco more. Let's start with Hunt. Let's see if I can stick with him. And then on the then I gotta love Barkley. I think Barkley's the right guy. He's impossible in it. And then and let's say if I put McLaurin in there, if I think McLaurin's gonna eat, all right, in this game. Okay, now I've got, and then defense, let's say Eagles defense there. Okay, so now I've got receiver and flex at 4,600 each. I think I got some money here I can play with.
Yeah.
I think I like, could I go maybe I can go a triple stack with Keon Coleman there, and then I still have I do Keon Coleman there. Now I still have 5,500 for my flex. I mean, I can do Worthy, I can do Eckler.
Yeah.
The Allen triple stack gives you, and not having Kelsey, you have way more viability here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you take Kelsey out, for sure, that changes everything, and you're going to have a unique build because a lot of people are going to play Kelsey. I imagine he's going to be the second highest owned player behind Barkley.
Yeah, and so maybe a little bit of variance is helpful there. And so I think, I could even if I didn't like Kincaid, if I wanted to go Goddard, I could go Goddard there and still have some money. I could have a combination of Goddard and Ty Johnson if I wanted to, flex there. But I like this right here. I think my flex here, I think Xavier Worthy is a great option. I've used every dollar, which is pretty rare.
Yeah, I mean, Worthy makes a lot of sense if you don't have Kelsey, because someone is going to be doing something in the passing game. And so if it's not Kelsey, it's going to be Worthy, I imagine. Yeah. Unless it's going to be like a weird Hopkins game out of nowhere, which I don't see. So, yeah, I like – if you don't play Kelsey, I think it's kind of like the same thing with Allen. Like, if you don't play Allen, you should play Cook. If you don't play Kelsey, I think you have to play Worthy. Yeah, or Chiefs running back, which, I mean, you are doing that too. So,
yeah. I think this is, I think I still like, I don't know. I just seeing Kareem Hunt in my lineup makes me gag. I don't know why.
I know.
And I just still want,
you could just drop it to Pacheco.
Put Pacheco in there and just leave $200 on the, And spending all my money makes me feel yucky too. I'm gonna get duped.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a 2-game slate. Like it's there are going to be some dupes. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be the winner is going to be duped, but sometimes you do get dupes. So, although I think if you're not playing Kelsey, I don't think you need to worry about that. Yeah, if you exclude Barkley or Kelsey, you don't need to worry about getting duped probably. Now, if you play both, then at that point you have to make sure that you are different somewhere. So, I like this lineup a lot. I think this makes a lot of sense to me. It's the Bills throwing a lot. The Chiefs are, I guess, potentially ahead with Pacheco touchdowns and Worthy getting there too. And then on the Eagles side, Barkley's going off, of course. You run it back with McLaurin, and you correlate Eagles with Barkley. I like this line quite a bit. Cassandra did a Smith, Shakir, Worthy lineup a few minutes ago, which you just did. I have a flex question when you're done. I'll tell you the whole lineup. Okay, Cassandra's let us know. And Dan says, hello, can you all teach me about NFL showdowns? Showdowns is just a 1-game slate, which we'll do for the Super Bowl. You play 6 players flex 1.5x, and there are different ways to do it. Like generally what you want to do in a showdown is kind of envision how a game's going to go and just build the lineup that way. But you also, and the other thing about showdowns is that you also want to leave some money on the table because there are a lot of duplicates in showdowns. Like sometimes you'll see like 100 something lineups being duplicated. And it's like, at that point, it's like, it's not even worth playing. But if you leave like $3,000 on the table, then you're almost certainly going to have a unique lineup. Which like I would recommend for that is it's in terms of not getting duped, is to build the lineup you like with the game flow you think is going to happen, and then once you have the lineup you like, take one of the players out and put in a far less expensive player, and then you're going to have a lot of money left over, and that lineup is going to be duplicated far less often. So, like imagine, like I did this last week in one of the showdowns. I think it was the Eagles-Rams showdown, where I built a lineup. I think I'd like Devontae Smith or Cooper Kupp was my last player, and I took him out and I put in Tyler Higbee instead. Like Higbee was like $3,000 less, and so that was far more unique than what it normally would have been. Actually ended up doing a lot better because Higbee had a better game than Smith or Kupp. Like funny enough, so you never know. It's a 1 game. It's 1 game, so like anything could happen. Guy scores a touchdown. You're looking great. When Higbee scored a touchdown, like this lineup is live. Unfortunately, I had AJ Brown in there, so didn't really pan out, but it did cash. So, the fact that Higbee was there that helped a lot. So that's what I would recommend, just to be unique and try to build a game flow of what you think is going to happen. You could something that I feel like people don't do enough is like a 5-on-1 onslaught is like people don't expect blowouts as often. Like sometimes they do if it's a huge spread, but like a spread that's like 6, for example, like Eagles Redskins, in that showdown, almost no one's going to build a 5-on-1 Eagles Redskins onslaught because they expect the game to maybe be close, and like they even expect the Redskins to be competitive. But like if you build a 5-on-1 Eagles Redskins onslaught and the game ends up being like 31-7, like you're going to be like one of the very few people who has a chance to win. So keep that in mind too. I'm not necessarily saying like that's the right build for this, but I think that that's something that's underutilized in Showdown. Cassandra says Cassandra's lineup is Hurts, Barkley, Ray Davis, interesting, Devontae Smith, Khalil Shakir, Xavier Worthy, Kelsey, Bills. Threw in De'Ami Brown because I didn't have a trash Redskin, but can fit in anyone for 4,700 or less. So you're looking for your flex. You're looking at Hopkins, Gainwell, Goddard. You have you already have Ray Davis. You have Zach Ertz. You have Amari Cooper.
I like a Hurts, Barkley, Goddard stack. I think it's potentially valuable.
Yeah, you can play Goddard. You wanted a trash Redskin, so he threw in Cassandra threw in De'Ami Brown, which I understand. Again, this could be an onslaught. Maybe they don't do anything. I don't hate De'Ami Brown, but if you wanted to go Goddard, that makes sense too. So if you just wanted to forego the Washington players, I'm kind of curious about Ray Davis. I know he scored last week, but we actually didn't talk. We didn't
several carries inside the 10.
we didn't talk about Ray Davis. He had 4 carries, 29 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah,
He had 4,300. I mean, I don't think he's
correct
the
me if
worst
I'm
player.
wrong. I think all 4 of those carries came in the red zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe he's the guy. Maybe you play him instead of Cook, right? Because it's either gonna be Allen or one of the running backs scoring.
Right.
So, and I mean Cook is the favorite to do that, but it could be Ray Davis. But the fact that Ray Davis just did this makes me not want to play him because I feel like people are gonna look at this and be like, oh, 8.9, and he's gonna be higher on. It's gonna be like one of those games that we talked about. It's like, what's the percentage chance that Ray Davis is in the winning lineup? Like, it's gonna be low, right?
Right.
Maybe 3%, 2%.
Yeah.
Probably
low
even lower than that. Maybe even lower than that. Let's say like 1%.
Yeah.
What if he's 1% to be in the winning lineup and he's like 5% owned? Then like that, he's a terrible play.
Right.
You know what I mean? If it was inverse, then he'd be a great play. So like that was probably inverse last week, but I don't know. I mean, at 4,300, he doesn't have to do much, but still, I don't think I'd play him. I'd rather play Ty Johnson, who just seems to be more involved. But as Cassandra, to answer your question, I think I think De'Ami Brown's fine. I think Goddard makes a lot of sense too, especially with Hurts. As Kenny said, that triple stack works well. So, yeah, I guess that's about it. I mean, unless you wanted to build one more lineup, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've done everything here.
No, it feels good.
Yeah,
I think I rethought some things too. It's helpful.
Yeah.
That's why building the lineup, kind of talking through it. Sometimes you realize, like, I had an opinion, and you're like, well, but that doesn't quite fit the way I thought it would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I like it a lot. I like doing that. I like, I like the once per day process of building a lineup because like my opinions will change throughout the week, but like I still have old lineups that make that still made sense earlier, and so like if I forget about players, like I'll still have them in old lineups. Now, like obviously, you want to change for injuries, but I usually won't change old lineups that I write up. So, yeah, that's so I hope we helped you guys. I hope someone listening to this, whether it's me or Kenny or Cassandra or John or anyone else in the chat, wins $1 million, and then you can come on and be like, hey guys, I won $1 million, and maybe give us like a $5 super chat or something. So I hope you guys do well with this. Good luck to everyone. We'll be back tomorrow. I think with Andy. I haven't talked to him. We'll see. I had to cancel last week's show with Andy because my kids were sick. My son was sick. But I think Andy, he hasn't told me otherwise. So I think he could be good to go tomorrow. So we'll have that show. And then Saturday with Tom, preparing for the week 21 games. It should be a lot of fun. So yeah, please like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. I have a free contest so I can win a gift card. All right. All right. So yeah, you can try to win the gift card. All right. Kenny, do you want to plug your website or anything else?
Campusfake.com. No new content, but if you want to know how to draft a perfect team for the 2024 season, that's featured on the front page there.
There it is. We'll have to do some 2025 content soon.
Let's go. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I think next week, because we'll have like the week off for the Super Bowl. So maybe we'll start doing some 2025 content. Slew with the 708 super chat.
Oh, let's go.
That's all. Oh, wow. In celebration of my first grandchild, Arabelle Rose, 7 pounds, 8 ounces. That's awesome, Slew. Congratulations. That's so cool.
No key numbers.
What'd you say?
I just read the comment.
Okay, I didn't read the rest of it yet. Surely by age 6, she'll know the key numbers of 3, 6, and 7, know how to spell Eagles. Yes, I'm confident that she will be smarter than the mayor of Philadelphia by age 6, or even before that. I think there's a good chance. So that's awesome. Congratulations on being a granddad. That's so cool. Yeah, that's awesome, man. But thank you for the super chat, Sue. Really appreciate it. You and John and Can't Make It Eagle and are so great here. So thank you so much, and congratulations again. Yeah. All right, guys. So that's it for tonight's show. We'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, have a great night, everyone. And I'll talk to you later.
You the man, Walt.